Hello, everybody. I'm Del Shores.
And I'm Emerson Collins, and you're watching The Del and Emerson Show.
Straight talk.
Real gay. Hi, Del Shores. Hi, everyone. How are you today?
Oh, that was such forced enthusiasm.
That convincing, everyone? Did you buy that performance I rehearsed?
I would say that's just a tad on the overacting. That's
Did I say a little more convincing? Y'all, we do have a fun show today. We got Ricky Martin and Pulse, LGBTQ jury service, Christian Lives Matter, a transphobic gay campground, Southern Baptist bigots, a trans teen on Idol, a lesbian cut from the wheel, and more.
Oh, I'm already heartbroken over that lesbian cut from a wheel.
I know, y'all. She wrote in and asked for advice, so we're going to let you, not us, somebody else, but we're going to give unsolicited advice. We want you to help.
we will give anybody unsolicited advice
About anything. Rob loves your sunglasses and your shirt.
Thank you. I broke out. It's kind of spring here in LA today, so I thought I would wear some short sleeves and
I just have to say, we appreciate all y'all that tune into the show. Right before we showed onto the show, while it was loading, there were 53 people watching. Now it's down to 36.
What? You scared them off with that over-enthusiastic opening.
Already, people said, look, you're too much. You were doing too much.
That's real gay. That's real gay.
I went outside today. It was so strange.
You went.
Don't say things like that when I've got sipping a thing of almond coffee. Oh, I'm so glad Becca Rose, Dallas, y'all have had it rough with this lack of water and water pipes bursting and Ted Cruz going to Cancun and shit.
Weird. It's Ted Cruz. That passing out water photo shoot that Ted Cruz did, y'all. Reality like we've been doing this too long for that to fool anybody.
You know
y'all
what?
Right?
I have I think I've shared this with you before, Emerson, that I have urges that I don't always act upon, but
I'm vaguely familiar.
Example is like when we used to do the shows at the Zephyr Theater and we'd walk by all of those tables that were outside because they could be at the time, they didn't have to be. I just always wanted to take a chip off of those people's table. I just always had that urge just to take one chip and just eat it and not say anything, just walk on by. I wanted so badly to be at that water bottle opportunity photo op of Ted Cruz with a big fire hose from above and just spray the shit out of that.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if that works because the whole point was people needed water because it wasn't
working.
I
know. It does make no logic at all that I fantasized about spraying Ted Cruz with water when people needed water.
I mean, in fairness, fantasies do not have to make sense. That is not a requirement.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Well, y'all, I went on another hike this weekend. That's 2 this month. And I don't mean my normal kind of hike, which is more than 2 stairs. I mean, we went to a mountain and a canyon and walked among it.
Emerson, I have known you since 2006, and I don't think we've ever been hiking together.
We have not.
And I have hiked a lot.
Well, that's because it's relaxing to you. For me, it's just effort. It only works right now because I need ambiance change. No, I just pretended Audra McDonald was singing "Climb Every Mountain" to me.
Well, you could put that in your, you just get these little earbud things and put it in. I listen to Kelly Clarkson. I listen to all my divas when I hike.
See, that's stressful to me. Like walking or hiking with earphones in, I don't understand how people do it. It makes me nervous to not be able to just hear the sounds of my surrounding. What if some axe murderer ran up behind you? You wouldn't know.
Well, it does get dicey sometimes when you're walking in the middle of the road like me and someone just starts honking behind you. And I'm like, get out of the road, Del Shores.
But liable to have a heart attack. I had other sad news to report.
What?
We took down the Christmas tree yesterday.
Let me think. You're not quite. I would say March 1st is officially white trash. That's sort of my rule.
Well, as a good friend DM'd me about it and said it's a mental health it's a mental wellness tree if you leave it up all year.
Mhm.
We did turn it into a Mardi Gras tree. Blake put a little mask on it last week, and then yesterday he said it's time. And I said, okay, it's fine.
Well, do what he says.
Like, he has indulged me. It is a shared space. Is everybody else doing all right? You know, thank you. What we were supposed to do here is the LGBTQ news and nonsense. We will get to that in a minute, and we do appreciate those of you who do share the broadcast. We were talking before the show. We're both just today. Just
yeah, we wrote earlier today together, and I actually I wrote Emerson a text, and I said I feel badly because I felt like I was so off today. I just felt so off, and I wasn't in a terrible mood. I just didn't feel like I was contributing, and I don't know if y'all ever go through that where you just feel like, you know, I don't. It was just an kind of feeling. So so I went and got some Starbucks, and I thought maybe I just need a pick me up, a little pick me up.
It's such a fine line with you between and just full on mania.
I know. It's like I just cross over. It's like, you know, years and years ago, I had this friend named Mary Thomas, and I'd go over and smoke pot with she and her husband, Dan, and they were into cocaine. And they told me, they said, you should never try cocaine. You would not be a good candidate.
No, ma'am. No, sorry. Someone said that to me once. They said, your head would be liable to explode.
I tried it 4 times, and it was not a good experience every single time.
I've always had sinus congestions, and I just don't need the sniffles for any additional recreational reason.
And plus, you know, I'm trying to protect those few brain cells I have left. So
just those handful rattling around. Wait, a lot of people are leaving up their trees, just so you know. Doug said mine was up till June once. Brent's leaving it up all year like Ethel Merman did. Ken said Easter is the white trash cutoff. So see,
I disagree. I really think it's Valentine's Day.
Now, theologically, that makes sense. You celebrate Jesus's birth right up till he died.
Then get it. Take away the tree.
He was born. Oops, he died. He
arose.
Like you put it down between the burial and the resurrection. It gives you something to do while Jesus is taking that nap.
Did y'all? I know it's too early to start talking about Easter, but did y'all ever do sunrise service on Easter? What the fuck was that about?
I get the Catholics and a midnight mass, but a sunrise service just seems
sunrise. I remember my daddy go out, get up, it's Easter, we gotta go to sunrise. It's sunrise service, and we'd go down by the lake and watch the sunrise. I now, you know, is this ironic? You always call me out and say it's not ironic.
Well, let's see, Alana.
Every morning, I love it when I wake up around 6 o'clock because I do see the sun rising and I love the sunrise now. And I'm up many times, as you know, before the sun rises. So, but Dub Shores, Lord Dub Shores, he was up at 4 in the morning. And so he's already up a few hours before sunrise.
That's nope. I can't think of a time in my life when I have seen the sunrise except for still being awake.
Well, I've done that too.
That's the only good reason.
You know what, Becca Rose? I think that's a good idea. We should decorate crosses around Easter. Just put a lot of things on them.
Please put lights and ornaments on a cross and see how that goes.
I just think it'd put it right in the window. Just a big old. No, I'd like to have I'd like to have a mannequin and a Speedo on my cross.
I mean, in fairness, that is theologically sound. It is meant to be a celebration. He did die for every one of your sins.
All of them. But
everyone.
Here's the deal, though. And I'm sorry if you're Catholic, but when we're raised Baptist, we do not leave Christ on the cross. My mother was appalled by the Catholics with that bleeding heart, just leaving him on the cross. Our Jesus is off the cross.
That's a little too S&M-y, glorifying that pain.
We have gone down a very strange
Wait, I want to start a new porn award show called the S&Emmys.
The S&Emmys. My ex-husband used to say that he wanted to do a porn movie with Jesus and the 12 disciples. He thought that The Last Supper would be a great porn movie.
I mean, I'm sure it's been pitched.
I'm sure. No one's
All right.
believing it.
Well,
All
should we
right.
get on to the news, y'all?
I
We do.
guess we should. I could just talk to you all day, Emerson. You're so entertaining. All right.
We enjoy each other's company so much when it's in front of the rest of y'all.
Yes, it's not. Otherwise, we just can't wait to get
We're
each
just
other.
like, yeah, okay, bye. The
Bye.
number of times that we finish a session and Dell's mind is already on to whatever email he is looking at, and he goes, bye. And like,
do we have anything else to talk about?
okay, bye.
All right. Jessica I was going to say Jessica Walters. Jessica Watkins, a trans woman and farmer. I could talk with y'all. I've had nothing to drink. I've had nothing to smoke. One more time. Jessica Watkins, a trans woman and former Army Ranger who now runs a bar called the Jolly Roger in Ohio, is in jail. And she's facing charges from the Capitol riots. She's a member of the Oath Keepers, a far-right militia. Southern Poverty Center has said is based on a set of baseless conspiracy theories about federal government working to destroy the liberties of Americans. Law enforcement believes that she wore full tactical gear and joined a line at the with the Oath Keepers, and they pushed their way into the Capitol. Now, here's what she wrote on Parler. Yeah. We stormed the Capitol today. I like that. I added that. Yeah. We stormed the Capitol today, tear gassed the whole nine, pushed our way into the rotunda, made it into the Senate even. The news is lying, even Fox, about the historical events we created today. Now, she also says she believed the president of the United States was calling upon her and that she was supporting the Constitution, her government, by providing the Constitution of her government by providing security services at the rally. So let's just break this down. She was there in full tactical gear, attacking while providing security services. Now, her attorney now argues her actions were misguided. No shit. And that she didn't vandalize anything and turned herself in January. She describes her time at the county jail in Ohio as humiliating. She says she was denied medical care for an arm injury in prison. And so she went on a hunger strike. Then she was allegedly she was stripped and left in a lit cell for 24 hours a day for 4 days in full view of everyone. She's asking to be let out of prison because she fears for her safety and that she isn't a threat and she could go home with a monitoring device.
That she felt called by the president. It always reminds me growing up of the missionaries, like, oh, they felt called, like Jesus called, Peggy answered. Like, I always imagined a literal phone call. Can you imagine if you picked up your phone and answered it from one of those blocked calls and it was like, hey, it's Jesus.
JC here. Listen.
JC, look, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm just calling you to be a missionary. Like,
where do you want me to go?
Like, oh, now we need to discuss because there is just some climates I am not suited for. I can do desert. Swamp is really not my area. I just don't do well with wet feet. Okay.
How about Cancun or Cabo San Lucas?
Do
they need salvation there?
I'm honestly surprised that Ted Cruz didn't say that's why he went to Mexico.
To do some missionary work.
Mission work. Cancun, spring breaks. It is a hedonistic town.
He was joining Jimmy and Rosalind Carter to build some houses.
What is interesting on the real side about that story, she should certainly be charged and that should all be followed through when the government can prove their case there. But it's an interesting juxtaposition, right? That then the way she's being treated as a trans woman in prison is concerning her for her safety. And that is serious regardless of whether she's guilty or not, right? We want to ensure that all people in prison and in jail are treated according to their human and civil rights. And it is important that no matter her guilt on the larger issue, that her identity not be abused in that circumstance. If she was really left out naked in front of people, like that is incredibly traumatic and not the way our prison system should be designed to work. So it's
it was, and just to be clear, Emerson, this is her account of the story through her attorney. So
Yes.
there's been no corroboration of this, and I guess that of course they probably would cover it up if it were.
I mean, there is a long history of trans people having issues in prison.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
I'm not saying she's a liar. I
Right.
want that to be very clear.
correct. Oh, we had some other Jig said he was willing to be a missionary in Cabo.
I'll go with you, Jigs. Jigs and our buddies. We'll go. We could be those Mormon boys on bikes.
And Todd doing doggy style in Cozumel. Anyway, that's all we got to spend on that. A good positive story I wanted to share on this complicated issue and all these bills targeting trans youth and sports and students across the country. Republican Utah Governor Spencer Cox came out against the current version of the Utah bill that targets trans students in sports. The Utah House passed the Preserving Sports for Female Students bill, and it will go to the Senate there. But at his monthly news conference, Cox said, "I'm not in a place yet where I'm comfortable with the bill as it stands right now. Those discussions are ongoing. We still have a lot of work to do." And he went further saying, "I think there is much we can do to protect women's sports and also to send a message to trans kids that there is a place for them and that they belong. And that's really important to me that they know that." And then he got emotional speaking. He said, "These kids they're just trying to stay alive. There's a reason none of them are playing sports. I just think there's a better way. And I hope that there will be enough grace in our state to find a better solution." Said, "I don't understand all this. I don't, but I'm trying to understand more. I'm trying to listen and learn. And again, trying to help kids figure out who they are and keep them alive. I apologize for getting a little emotional, but when you spend time with these kids, it changes your heart in important ways." Now, Cox served as a state rep, and then he was lieutenant governor. And the Salt Lake City Tribune says he has long been a conservative ally to the LGBTQ community. He worked with the previous governor on a regulation to classify conversion therapy on minors as unprofessional conduct after the legislation failed in their House and Senate there. So that's real ally work and standing up to the bigoted nature of this. I mean, to hear him talk about a thing we talk about a lot, right? If you know us, if you know a trans teen, if you know a trans person, if you know a gay or bi person, it impacts how you perceive how we and they are treated in our culture. And I just thought that was impressive, given how many places we see bigoted conservatives targeting this particular issue.
Yes, that's a beautiful. I like this. We've said it many times. If there's going to be change and positive change in the Republican Party to bring people in that do not agree with their social issues, you have to be somebody like that, or Adam Kissinger, or somebody that is actually brave enough to come out and go against the norm of the GOP. And I love what he had to say. And I like that he got emotional, that he said, "I got to know these kids." And anyway, well, my future husband is in the news. Ricky Martin, the one with the One Pulse Foundation. He signed on as the One Pulse Foundation spokesperson as they build the memorial, of course, for the Pulse bar, that the nightclub that where we lost so many of wonderful people that fateful night. He's going to make videos. He's going to social media post. He's going to participate in the proposed Pulse Museum, possibly narrate for the exhibit. And guess what? He's not going to take any money. And I wanted to say something about that, because, everybody thinks that if you host a charity event and you're a celebrity, if you are a spokesman for a charity, or if you do this, this, and this, that you don't get paid. That is not true. It's true sometimes, but I have certainly been paid to host a charity event. And I just think it speaks volumes of of Ricky Martin's stature, who will do what he is doing and do it gratis. I love that. That's my favorite thing about this story. On Valentine's Day, the foundation launched a campaign to raise $49 million to fund the National Pulse Memorial and Museum. And you can contribute by going to www.outlovehate.com. $49 $1 donation will add your portrait to the Out Love Hate website and will appear on permanent display at the Pulse Museum. So
I made my donation already.
good for you. You're really good.
Well, I love that, that it's a museum and a foundation and that they can keep doing work. And that's a lot of money they want to raise to really leave this important memorial to this huge tragedy, particularly to the Latina part of our community. And that as a member of that part of our community, that he's using his celebrity. I did want to add, also, organizations should pay entertainers and hosts to host their benefits, because that's those people's skills and jobs, y'all. Ricky's super famous and has lots of money, but asking entertainers to give of their time continuously as a donation is a fine line. Remember that you're asking those people to do their job to help you raise money.
Well, that's true. And I've had some pushback before where someone, I remember years and years ago, they were doing some sort of lives thing with something in Atlanta, and they asked me to host it, and I said, well, here's my manager, and they were going, what? You're going to, this was, the head of the organization. I'm not going to say what it was. And they said, how despicable that you would ask that. They even asked me to fly there on my own dime. And I said, I just want to ask you a question. What's your salary and who pays it? And that kind of shut down that conversation.
Yeah, it's a fine balance, but people.
But sometimes, Emerson, I said, yeah, get me there. I will host your. It depends. It depends on what the passion is in your heart.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. All right. Up next, we talked about Representative Mondaire Jones from New York. Along with the Equality Act that's happening, he introduced the Juror Non-Discrimination Act, which would ban discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity when it comes to picking jurors. Because we all know, right? Jury selection, plaintiffs and defendants can eliminate potential jurors, and federal law makes it illegal to use reasons of sex, race, religion, and origin, but not orientation and identity. So it's been introduced every session since 2013 by California Rep. Susan Davis, but she retired and Jones picked up the mantle. He said, our Constitution guarantees the right to trial by a jury of one's peers, but LGBTQ plus defendants are deprived of that right when attorneys use sexual orientation or gender identity to dismiss jurors. So equal opportunity in everything. Of course, with everybody trying to get out of jury service, I don't know that everybody wants that kind of equality.
You know what? I don't know if you remember, but I used to get hit up for jury duty all the time. And I just had this whole thing. I was always able to, because I was out of town a lot working. And one time I had to go down there and I decided, I'm just going to talk like this. If I talk like this, yeah, I'm willing to serve. Yeah. Whatever you want. Yeah, I come from a red state, but don't you hold that against me. I really didn't.
Red state, redneck right here.
But I did not last too long.
I tried so hard once to get on a jury. I don't remember what phase of our things, but we were in some phase where there was just nothing to do. And I got called and I was like, I want to be on a jury. I'm curious about that part. Because, the 12 Angry Men movie problem, right? Because I'm a bit of a arrogant. And I just thought, if I get in a jury room, whatever I've decided, I hope everyone else that's what they decided. Because a bunch of 11 people I ain't never met before today are not changing my mind about what I think about we just watched.
No, you are an angry woman. I mean,
12 angry women right here. But I didn't get picked. I got all the way into the jury box, and then they asked me the questions and bounced me out. But it was very exciting at the time because the guy who played the gay bartender on Grey's Anatomy was also there that day, and I was like, I know him from my TV.
You know what would have been better about that show if you had hooked up with him after you both got dismissed. That's the ending that I think you should use in your stand-up.
I don't think he's gay in real life.
Well, you turned him in the story. You turned him.
Rob never been called. Rick never been on a panel from 18 years old. Wait, I love this. I know it's wrong, but I always put lesbian housewife as my occupation. Dismiss. I'm going to try that too. That's what I'm going to put next time. Lesbian housewife.
I just go as Jimmy Dale Watkins. I just put my come and go hat on and I just got, no, I don't have a prejudice bone in my body about anybody, but, and then
be like, I'm open. Erica, what was your trial about? Oh, and I will say what was funny at the one I was at, because I was pretty far down the list. I didn't think they'd get to me. And I watched one older woman sit in her chair, and she answered 2 questions just fine. And then she suddenly tried to act like she didn't understand English very well. But it was like she waited too late to start that. And so everyone went, what? When she said, I don't understand. And even the judge said, ma'am, it seems clear you understand. She did not get out of her seat.
Did she say, how do you say cucumber in
It was a little bit like you started, whatever you're going to go with, you got to start it from when you walk through the door. Think of it like an acting audition. You need to be in character from the moment you hit the security.
I'm telling you, you can't go in the, like this. I have to go as Jimmy Dale Watkins.
Leanne always got out because I was breastfeeding. I don't think I can use that excuse either.
Yeah, but Leanne, I want to ask you a question. Did you just walk in breastfeeding? Because I think that would be a dismissal. Yeah, get her out of here. Not that I have any problem with women breastfeeding in public. It's a beautiful thing, but I think some people would.
Erica's was about a guy that robbed an older guy at an ATM, and there was video. Open and shut. Open and shut.
Erica said, guilty as charged. Get him out of here. Okay. This story really disturbed me because I've been really fortunate over the years to perform at a lot of gay campgrounds. A lot of them have Sorted Lives Weekend, and there's a new private campground for gay men. It's called Camp Boomerang RV Park and Campground. It's in Orleans, Michigan. It's not yet open. They've kind of had some, trial weekends. Its co-founder, Brian Quinn, has been called out now for being transphobic. And he wrote on a Facebook group, in a Facebook group for the organization, which is Camp Boomerang RV Park and Campground. It's a private membership only RV park campground that allows only guys. A guy, in terms of this discussion, is defined as a guy with a penis who presents himself as a male and has a state-issued ID that says male. We understand this statement, unfortunately, may not make everyone happy, but feel it needs to be clarified. It is our hope that everybody who visits Camp Boomerang enjoys a comfortable, safe, non-confrontational environment going forward. Being a private membership only entity allows us the ability to build a like-minded atmosphere. We don't mean for this to come off as like it or leave it attitude, but we feel it's necessary for everyone to know exactly what our vision is for Camp Boomerang. Okay, so obviously there was backlash, and one person asked if there would be penis checks to enter, and he said, we have never said anything about penis checks. But let's be real here. If we let trans men in and they go naked at the pool, that's when it's obvious that there's no penis. What a fucking asshole. Sorry to put it bluntly, he said, but if you don't like the rules, quietly leave. Several pledging members of the group have already dropped their membership, and the Facebook group for Camp Boomerang was no longer immediately available. I looked them up. I tried to find a website. I just wanted to see if they had a Sorted Lives Weekend because I was going to call and make sure that all rights were revoked. But I can't find a website. I can't find anything. They have taken everything down. And on like Google, they've gone to 1 star because people have just been hitting them for being transphobic.
For some of you allies watching that may be confused about some of this, there's a range of naked environments across the community, the gay male community. Some are nudist naturist oriented, casual nudity. Some are like nudist daytime, sexy time oriented afternoon evenings. And some of them are like sexy free for all the time, anywhere, whatever you go. But it's frustrating to watch the choice to be so vocally transphobic and make a mountain out of a molehill from the get-go. You know, the
Like they didn't even have the like someone didn't even show up for them to do this. They just decided this Brian Quinn or whatever the fuck his name is. Brian Quinn is his name. He just decided I'm just going to put it out there before it happens because he just felt like they were all just going to descend.
Right.
No, I mean it's an unusual thing to.
Well, it's like they sat around talking about it for too long because there's so many arrogant asshole assumptions involved too. First of all, the idea that everyone that's naked at your campground wants to be involved with you sexually in some way, as no one would be forcing you to engage with that man if that is not someone you're interested one way or the other, regardless of their genitalia. And the idea that just existing near one, like, it's just such a lazy old, trope. It just seems like, what if one time, and I know casually several gay men that are in relationships with trans men, the idea that they couldn't roll their RV out there and enjoy being naked among the trees, that it would be some trauma to your experience, is narcissistic and transphobic and just exhausting when it's particularly within our own community.
Well, what's kind of cool is I can't remember the name of it, but there's this I can't remember. There another campground countered this and said, "Guess what? You're welcome at ours. Come on." So no discrimination here.
Was it listed as it is, right?
They're all clothing optional, Erica. All of these places are clothing optional. And I've gone to several of them, and I can't remember which one. There was one that women were allowed. Not many women were there, but at least they had the opportunity if they wanted to be a camper. And then there was one that it was just men only.
Well, and I get I love gay men only spaces, but the idea that then you're policing what it means to be a man is where this becomes transphobic and a problem. You're saying we don't want, it's a men only space. Great, advertise that. And then if you don't want to engage with a particular person's genitals at the pool, leave them alone.
That's right.
Oh my God, this is funny. Jared said, Peaches Cry said we should start calling transphobic gay men turds, trans exclusionary radical dickheads.
Good one.
Off of TERFs, TERFs for the women. But it's just frustrating and disappointing, right? We've all experienced discrimination in one form or another, and to think and policing what it means to be a man in a community where so many of us were told we weren't men for the attraction, for who we are attracted to. Like, you're just rolling the shit downhill onto other people that we are in our community.
Well, I don't know about you, but it always disappoints me that when I find any kind of blatant discrimination, whether it's racism, whatever, bigotry within our community. I've had, there's a club, I'm not going to say it here, but there's a club that I will not perform at because the owner, after one of my shows, used a very, very inflammatory racial slur. And I said, I don't know why do you think it's okay to do that in front of me? Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm just taking the edge off of the word. Bull fucking shit. I hate all that kind of rhetoric, So I just told my manager, find me another venue. And I did.
You sure did. All right. We've reached the halfway point of our show. So if you enjoy what we provide for you here, as entertaining or informative, or hopefully both at times, you can send us a tip on Venmo to @EmersonCollins or on PayPal to beardcollinsshores.productions@gmail.com. The info is in the ticker below. I'll put it in the chat. Not required, not expected, but most appreciated. Thank you to Jigs, who has already contributed today.
Thank you, Jigs. Thank you.
I'm typing it. Sometimes I pre-type this. Someone was saying the other day, because I turned my accent up for this show that I don't really have in real life. They said, why do you do that? That's not how you talk. I said, I know, but everything's funnier in Southern.
It is.
Okay, in other irritating news, Down Under, the Heaps Gay variety show happened over the weekend in a public outdoor space called the Sunset Piazza in Sydney, Australia. Now, they made this flyer featuring the cathedral, St. Mary's, that sits right next to, sure, I was going to be able to, nope. That sits right next to the piazza, St. Mary's, obviously, drawing a little attention. Well, The Sydney Archbishop Anthony Fisher got all upset. They used it in the marketing, and on Facebook said it is frustrating and upsetting that St. Mary's Cathedral, the mother church of Australia, has been used so provocatively to promote this event and such little sensitivity shown to people of faith. I mean, just traumatized by a poster, sir, you should get out more. Well, then a Facebook group called Christian Lives Matter. I'm going to take a deep breath here and not even talk about how co-opting a conversation that is about the experience of Black people in America to invent persecution against Christians, well, and around the world, this is in Sydney, but nonetheless, decided to organize a prayer protest. So they held a mass prayer of the Rosary and then started singing hymns. One of the variety show performers said they were trying to drown out the music with hymns. You could definitely hear the Christians. Now, I did see some Instagram videos making it very clear that the variety show sound system had no problem getting right over whatever hymns they were singing. And one of the organizers from Christian Lives Matter was thrilled with the attention, writing on Facebook, "Remember, they crucified Jesus on the cross on the wood of shame, which was meant to be the most humiliating way to die. Yet our Lord turned it into the wood of salvation, and the crucifixion paved the way for the resurrection." I gotta be honest, when you use the phrase the wood of salvation, I don't think of the cross anymore. I do think of a different kind of erection, however.
Oh my God. There's so much with this
Christian Lives Matter. Like, the arrogance of inventing a persecution complex, right? There are certain places in the world where there is a very small Christian minority that are persecuted. Those places are not the English-speaking Western world. They aren't. We are a majority religion. That environment, that ethic, how that religion pervades Western cultures, you are not being persecuted. And so to take the struggle, I mean, we are still in Black History Month, and to take the struggle that Black people named to talk about how they are treated by the actual institutional authority in our culture to invent persecution for yourself, well, first of all, it's just racist. And two, it's ridiculous.
I have this vision where they're like, amazing grace. And then that DJ goes, "It's gonna be raining men. It's raining men. Hallelujah."
Yes. And or like some awkward Megamix remix between Washed in the Blood and Last Dance. You know, it's just these songs were not meant to go.
Well, and segueing into other church news, Town View Baptist Church in Kennesaw, Georgia, welcomed a gay couple and their 3 adopted children to their church. Now they're going to be kicked out of the Southern Baptist Convention. John M. Reynolds, one of the gay couples, said, "We had been attending church of more liberal denominations prior to moving to Georgia due to being a part of the LGBT community and being ineligible for membership, or in some cases, even attendance. So they emailed the pastor and they asked if they could join and offered to join separately so not to draw attention to themselves as a couple." I don't really like that part of this story. Reverend Jim Conrad said, "I knew that we couldn't put this decision off and that we were going to have to deal with this." So the church assistant pastor agreed, and the Reynolds say that the other couples our age embraced them. But then about a third of the church members, they left, they fled. They said, no. And the pastor said it was a painful session when 30% of your congregation leaves. So 30% of that congregation were bigots. People who you have done life with. I like the way you worded that. Done life with for the past 25 years. And they are fighting the decision to expel them. The Reynolds now have left the church after moving out of town, but say God is working in a very special way to open the door in the Baptist church community just a little bit wider. So didn't seem like it was open that wide to me.
It's so interesting, right? I mean, I like what you said, that they were even willing to like join this church separately. Like they were already making themselves small, you know, something so many of us did in our conservative religious community.
That's what I don't like about this story.
But then this pastor and this assistant pastor said, yes, you know, we are to live by the ethic of the belief of what we are teaching, and we are going to welcome them. And it's like the fucking gay campground, right? It's like I'm so bothered by someone else's participation in this place. You know, it's like I can't even handle a trans man over there. I can't even handle that gay couple in those other pews, not bothering me in my worship at all, that I need to leave and not be here. And the Southern Baptist Convention was like, yeah, correct. And since you did, you're out.
And let's not forget one of Christ's commandments was the little children come unto me. And so they had 3 children too that were expelled along with their parents.
You know, there's some Southern Baptists who said, well, we're supposed to welcome the little children so they can come to Sunday school and y'all can pick them up at 11:30.
Mm-hmm. Don't expect us to sit with them during church.
But I love that here we are, you know, in this smaller town in Georgia, and these pastors made the right decision. We always want to applaud that. They are doing the right thing, living by the belief system that truly, the true tenets of that system, and doing the right work, and then being reprimanded by the institution.
But I want to know something about that. I want to follow up the story. I want to find out, after the couple left, are they now inclusive of other gay folks?
Well, it seems like yes, because there's still being proceedings to kick them out. I would assume so.
Okay. Well,
you mean what? You mean you think they gave like a one-time permit?
I don't know. I'd like to find out what the Southern Baptist Convention is doing. Where those 30% of those other people did.
They went to other churches in the area.
Oh well, all you have to do is swing a cat in Georgia, and there's a church.
Yeah, I think by the time you go to make the decision to let in a gay couple, that's a big. You know, it wouldn't have made it to the Southern Baptist Convention if we're doing like a one-time permit only.
I know, but I just want to know what happened. You know, it's odd to me. Then they left
because they got a job and moved.
Yeah,
moved.
Well, I would like to. I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna call that.
I don't think it's over. That's the point of where this news story is. They are in the process of fighting the Southern Baptist Convention's decision to.
Well, they're not going to win with the Southern Baptist Convention. There's precedent. There's a church in Texas.
Okay. It's just screaming at me about.
No, I'm just saying. There's a Baptist church in Texas who did the same thing, and they were really adamant. Their congregation, we are not going to be a part of this bigotry, and so they are now just a Baptist church, no longer.
Right, they left the convention.
They left.
The decision. Yeah. Well, this one doesn't want to. They're fighting. So you can't tell us. Guess we'll see. You put that church into your Google alerts.
Do you remember? I will. Do you remember when we at Baylor when Baylor left the Southern Baptist Convention?
I do not.
They did over the inerrancy of the Bible.
I see.
All right, keep going.
Like, I do not care, Kate Westmoreland. We talked about Idol last week, and Ken and several people mentioned that this trans teen was going to be on American Idol this week, and he was. So we wanted to share a little bit of his story because it was very a big deal to watch. Ace Styles, that you see from Tulsa, Oklahoma, auditioned there with his rainbow-clad guitar. He sang an original song called Addicted, and when asked if Ace was his real name by Katy Perry, he said, sure. I'm trans, so I got to pick my name, so technically it's my name, not legally yet, but it's okay, we've got to wait. You have to be 18. In the package, his VT, he and his mother both talked about his journey, the depression he experienced, and his comfort with himself now. He said, I definitely had to come out to myself before I could come out to everyone else. After coming out, I definitely felt better than I have in a long time. Everybody at home, I hope they see that it's okay to be yourself. I'm going to be myself, and I don't need any of you to tell me that I'm not worth it because I am worth it, and I figured it out on my own. I like myself, and I wouldn't have it any other way because I think I'm pretty cool. He also shared, though, in that he was in a show at school and wasn't allowed to use either dressing room. The judges did say very nice things, but ultimately they did not pass him on to Hollywood, saying that they wanted to give him more time to grow in confidence and his voice. But it was really impressive.
Well, besides that, it was interesting to me because I watched the whole audition and I watched the kindness that was exhibited by Katy Perry and Lionel Richie and Luke Bryan. But Luke Bryan and Katy Perry ultimately said no. This Ace was fantastic, I thought. I mean, compared to Claudia Conway, it was a far superior performance, and it was an original song. So I tweeted Ace some love today, and I said those judges were wrong.
I love that.
Except Katie was right in saying it does get better. So I followed Ace on Twitter, and I don't know if he's that active on Twitter, but
he definitely took it hard. I can't imagine his experience in Tulsa, but it goes back to what we talked about earlier about the governor of Utah and these trans youth in sports. I think there were probably a lot of the Idol audience who don't know a trans teen, right? Who are hearing this national, terribly bigoted discussion we're having and don't have a person to personalize the issue. I mean, I think Ace may be the first trans teen a lot of people outside of our community encountered through the television. So he, of course, he just wants to sing songs and that's all he should have to do. But I think his visibility has an impact. The way we were talking about earlier. Rob said, and I saw a number of people say this, was much better than the guy from Mania who got a gold ticket. The hard part with that is that these producers are casting a television show more than they are casting a talent show. So it's as much about personality and casting as it is about the voices. Let's be real.
Well, without getting back on the road, I'm going to go to Tulsa and I'm going to play that Gay and Lesbian Center again. And I'm going to invite Ace to open for me. I want Ace to sing a song, that same song, Addicted. It was really great.
I like that he said this is a song called Addicted. I'm not me. I don't do drugs. That's illegal.
It's not legal. I'm not old enough to do drugs.
Danielle said Katie was the first celebrity she heard mention trans rights in a speech years ago when everyone else was still only focused on marriage equality. So Katie's definitely done a lot of work and shown up and stood up for our community in her journey.
Absolutely. So we get to the lesbian wheel.
All right. Now, at the end of this, y'all, we're going to want to know what your advice is to this lesbian.
Yes, we're not going to tell the advice. We're not going to tell the answer that was given to this lesbian. Okay, so the Texas lesbian wrote the Oregonian to ask Dear Annie for help. She is estranged from her sister after a disagreement with their mother, who is since passed away. She says it was a bad falling out as she talked my mother into making her the sole heir of her estate because I am a lesbian. My niece is getting married and I suspect I will not be invited as I was not invited to her high school or college graduation. We were once very close, but now she doesn't want to appear a traitor to her mother, I guess. My falling out with her sister is bad enough, but my mother and sister hurt me deeply by keeping me away from my two nieces, especially after I helped raise them. I have not said anything in years about it, and I don't care to. It's done and over with. I think I just need to walk away. Then she asked, is it childish of me? Can I give myself permission to save my self-respect and dignity by unfriending them? I don't want to seem petty, but my mother and sister schemed to hurt me badly as they could, all because I'm a lesbian and they don't approve. So we want to ask you, what would you tell this lesbian who was left out of the will?
That's right. Would you tell her to unfriend them?
I guess we're talking about Facebook or Instagram or any of social media. Would you unfriend them? What would you do, Emerson?
Mama's dying, sister got the will. I mean, I would think you also, it's hard because it's family, right? If you need to walk away for yourself, I think do. I think particularly our community, so often we diminish ourselves to maintain relationships. It clearly hasn't been good since the will. I would challenge her to make sure she's re-examining and there's not some resentment from her for the will be going entirely to the sister.
Oh, I would resent that.
Well, I know you would. I'm asking her, is this also about, has she contributed to the situation for her own resentment of how it ended with her mother that she can no longer reconcile?
Here's what the advice I would give her, because I have such a close relationship with my nephews and nieces. I would say, yeah, unfriend the sister, unfriend her, be done. Reach out to the nieces and say, I'm no longer going to have contact with your mother. If you ever want to have contact with me, I would love to have a relationship with you, just to make sure that they know that you're not dismissing them as a result of their mom's actions. That would be my advice.
Yes, that is a very good. Wait, Rob said, kill them with kindness and then sue. Dale would unfriend them. Tony said, choose your family, get away from toxic people. Erica would unfollow. Rob said it's hard situation because of family. And Ken said unfollow them, but not unfriend, so you can check in from time to time. Works great. Ooh, that's a good one. It's like muting them, right? Like
I mute people. I mute Republicans on Facebook.
Lovingly disconnect. Judy, sometimes blood is not family. If you need to walk away, then do it. It's it is. It's one of those, Leanne said, I would fight that will. My gathering from the story is that we're far enough past the will. Like the will is what caused the break for a while. And then she wanted to come back around because of the nieces, and the sister said, But I think you could tell that sister, now look, you got mama's money and that sweater we all hated and that Afghan from the front porch. You could at least let me come to my niece's wedding.
Or just show up.
That's what I'd say. Look, I've reached the point where be petty. Find somebody else to sneak you the address and show up looking good.
So just do like, I just, I'm always inspired by my brother boy walking into that funeral and just making a stir, just stir up a little shit and then walk out.
And then walk right back out. Erica said, I friended my nieces on Facebook and my half-sister came back around and apologized after about 16 years. It is unfortunate how often the next generation suffers for the conflict of the older. And my real answer would be, reach out lovingly to the niece, whether you get contact or not. Say, I want to support you. I heard that, the wedding. Send the love that you want to give to the girls that you care about. And whether you do or don't get an answer, I would say, don't let other people stop you from giving love if you are okay with receiving nothing back.
Yes, and find out where they're registered and buy the most expensive gift on the registry.
Yes, that's the high end. Be high. That's the high road and petty at the same time. Del, it sounds like a Del Shores movie because it basically has been twice.
Yes, I have written about wills and deaths a few times.
It is a theme. All right, a fun thing. This happened like 2 weeks ago, and I missed it somehow. And being an actor myself, I found it impressive. 2 weeks ago, 185 LGBTQ actors in Germany staged a mass coming out in a German national newspaper in a public appeal for more diversity on stage and on screen. They included big film and TV and stage stars. And actually, Blake and I right now are watching this German TV show called Babylon Berlin on Netflix because it has several seasons. And, I can't handle modern drama right now. One of the actors from that show that I didn't know was out in real life is one of the actors here. The headline said, I come from a world that didn't tell me anything about myself. Their manifesto reads, we identify among other things as lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer, inter, and non-binary. Until now, we have not been able to talk openly about our private lives without fearing repercussions on our professional lives. They told various versions of that story we know, being told not to come out so it didn't hurt their career. And that is why one of them said, we talked about it as a group. It suddenly became clear that this was how we could change something as a group, as a big group. Leroy Gibba, a Black German actor, stage actor, said, of course, I want to play characters that were originally written white or hetero. At the same time, I ask, where are the Black and queer characters standing in the center of their own stories? Apparently, as an industry in Germany, diversity and representation has only recently begun to be discussed. And I just found this so fucking awesome that 185 of them clearly had some giant group chat, and I'm sure a series of text threads, and said, if we all do this together, first of all, each of us are less likely to suffer individually, and we can make a really big point at the same time.
Power and words. Yes, I love it. I love it. What a great story.
Yes.
I almost just swallowed air and just coughed violently. All right. You know why I just started gagging? Because I have to do a story about Marjorie Taylor Greene. So we just talked about the Equality Act, and now resident far-right conspiracy theorist Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has come out against it. Shocker. She shared a New York Post opinion piece from anti-trans activist Ryan T. Anderson, who declares it to be threats to our society, and Orwellian. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted, the so-called hashtag Equality Act is evil and has nothing to do with equality. It virtually destroys women's rights and religious freedom. How can anybody vote for this? She goes on to rant that our daughters will no longer have the right of privacy and that trans women TSA agents will pat down cisgender girls. She also says men who dress and think that they are women will have rights all over real girls and women. I will be voting. No, this is all a cap. Just make sure she's clear. I will be voting no to the disgusting, immoral, and evil hashtag Equality Act. 3 exclamation marks. Okay, bye.
Like, they're not indulgent, ridiculous, absurd bigots, but she is an elected official in the government, and this is one of the party lines they are trotting out to oppose the Equality Act in the coming weeks. So all it is it's an argument that we have to shout down at every opportunity. You know, until the people recall her, she matters.
Yeah, she's at least got, you know, what, 14 more months or 13? I can't do math. She's got some time.
Yeah, well, oh yeah. So it's not till 2022. But as Ken put it so eloquently.
Fuck her. I say P.S. Fuck her.
Always, absolutely. No, still thinking about that gay campground. I've never been to one, and I sure would like to go. But you know what concerns me? I was a Boy Scout. I went camping once a month for like 9 years of my life. I staffed at Boy Scout camps. I worked in the summer. I worked at a winter junior leadership training camp. I went backpacking at Philmont, the Scout Ranch in New Mexico. My problem is I would have to stop at a jock strap because I'd just be real worried about my balls doing camping activities.
Well, you know, from my experience, because you know, as I have been to a few, and I never stayed on the ground, Emerson. I always got a really nice cabin.
Right.
And they have those wooden cabins, and no scorpions. I didn't see a scorpion.
Right. And also a lot of them are RV too, right? So like
there's a lot of RVs there, and so
even so. At least put that thong or jock strap on when it's time to work the fire pit or the barbecue. I just worry.
Well, you just have to be selective for where you're going. And, you know, I've been with you at clothing optional places, at least one beach, I remember.
Yes, we were on that cruise.
That RSVP cruise. Yeah.
It's for a nature walk, certainly. But I just, when in activity, I need a little something skimpy just for peace of mind. Not about modesty, just about practical application. Also, I imagine it's hot, and then you get that ball sack super glue thing. It's stuck to your leg, and
it's hot. It's hot.
I mean, has anybody in the room been besides Dell? Judy said, Rob said you just need to trim your pubes. Judy said, I went with friends of mine who had an RV. Was not for me.
Oh, I loved it so much. I mean, at Oz Campground, I performed. They had a really great venue and just so many great Georgia boys, just fun. And then I was at East Tennessee, and then another one in Georgia.
Well, a lot of people have been. What I've always enjoyed and do still enjoy about the clothing optional resorts, the beaches, the campgrounds, is that actually it makes people really lovely and very friendly. You know, there's an element of like pulling off your literal layers that makes people pull off the metaphorical layers. And I just think I've always found people to be very nice and engaging, more so than even in regular life.
I've always been resistant to be completely naked at these places, but I'm going to make a vow after the pandemic, no more. I don't give a fuck.
I'll be honest. You know what mine is? I'm more like sunset to after dark, because nowadays with camera phones, you just never know.
I know, and I have daughters. I do not want them to see me naked on the internet. But I have
they are grateful as well.
Before we leave, I have a proposal, Emerson. Since you've never been, and a lot of people have been, and they can be fun, I say at one of those Sorted Lives weekend, if one of the campgrounds will book me again for Sorted Lives weekend, I will bring all of y'all along. How many want to go? How many? And Emerson, I want you and Blake to go.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I got lots of miles.
All right, y'all. Well, we'll see you at a campground or on Friday. If you want to send us a tip, you can do that on Venmo or on PayPal to beardcollinshoresproductions@gmail.com. Thank you to Joe Benson, who also contributed. Thanks for lifting our spirits.
Yes, you made me feel better.
Oh, look, everybody said, I'll fly out to go. I do.
Yay, Tay. Yeah.
I think we're going to get a good bit of this like Blake.
We're gonna have a group.
Is my idea of camping.
We are going to get a group together. So, all right. Yeah.
To me, it's more comfortable to go with strangers than to go with friends.
We're all strangers and friends. Strangers and friends. That's a new movie. Strangers and Friends.
I prefer those kind of flirty vacations with anonymous. But like, where are you going?
I guess we need to say goodbye and see how Tiger Woods is doing, since they've spent 3 hours on the news, and he's going to be fine.
Is that what they said?
They say he's going to be. It's not life threatening. It's not life threatening, but 3 hours to keep saying the wreck. Yeah, and it's like, come on.
Do you all see? This is what our day is like all day. It's like, well, let's be done. Here's a whole new topic.
I know we should. Well, he's not LGBT.
He's not.
Nothing. All right. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, y'all. We'll see you on Friday. Same bat time, same sorted channels. We do appreciate it.